today I'm going to be doing the 50 random things about me tag. So there's a lot of things, so let's just get started. So first of all, I was born in Texas. I'm 5'10". My favorite food in the whole wide world is cold cereal. And I hate tuna fish. I think it's disgusting and I don't even like the smell of it. My favorite candy is Cadbury eggs. I drink an insane amount of milk. Like, I just love it. I drink it all the time. My husband gets mad and makes me drink water, which is good, so yeah. I've done hair for 10 years. I wear a size 8 shoe, which is kind of small for how tall I am, so I kind of have small feet for a tall person. I love singing. I love music. I did musical theater when I was in high school, but I wasn't one of those theater kids, you know, the ones that like break out into song in the middle of the cafeteria, that are like, you know, doing a monologue in the middle of class. Like, I wasn't one of those kind of people, but I love music and I love dance. I took like group and private lessons for many years and I just really loved it. I have never been out of the US. I've never been to Mexico or Canada or anywhere else, and I would really like to like go somewhere to Europe. I'd like to even go to Hawaii. That's still in the US, but you know, I'd like to go somewhere fun. I am the youngest out of 5, so I have 3 sisters and 1 brother. And I am Christian of the LDS faith, so it's known as Mormon. And it's a huge part of my life. It kind of defines who I am and like what I do. So probably one of my most tragic childhood memories is when we were traveling from Texas to Utah and I left my favorite stuffed animal named Fred in the hotel. And I was just like so sad and I was like crying for days and my parents tried to buy me another one and I was just like, no. My favorite color is pink, but it wasn't always pink. Like when I was in junior high, I was really into like polo and Tommy Hilfiger and everything. And then in 10th grade, I started getting more girly and more into pink stuff. And like I got tons of compliments and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you look so cute in pink. So I was like, okay. So I started wearing a lot more pink. I played with dolls till I was like 12. I loved to dress them. I had American Girl dolls. I had like Samantha and Addie, and I would like braid their hair and put all these cute outfits on them. And yeah, when I went to junior high, I was like, that's probably time to be done. I really like to be outside. I would consider myself like outdoorsy. Like I like to go camping, I like to go hiking, and I like to play sports when I was younger, and I still really like exercising and stuff like that. I really enjoy documentaries, which sounds weird, but like there was a documentary on one night that was about blue holes and it was showing like all the stuff that was down there and like, I don't know, it was just amazing. I find documentaries fascinating. I also really like instruction manuals, which sounds weird, but like when I get an electronic device, like I find it interesting to see like what it says on exactly how to run it. Like I like to figure out how to run things right, so I read the instruction manual. I met my husband when I was 16, and we've been married for 7.5 years, and we have 2 boys. One is almost 5, and the other one's 20 months. And when I had my youngest, like he was instantly famous in the hospital because he had white hair. And so all the nurses were coming in and like, oh my gosh, do you have a little baby with white hair? And I'm like, yeah. So one thing about me is like I've kind of had a hard life. Like I've gone through a lot of things and people tend to look at me and think like, oh, you're happy, so you must have had this like nice life and everything's perfect and your family seems perfect, and it's like, okay, that is not the case. So I really feel like, you know, trials or whatever happens in our lives can be hard and they can break us, but they also can make us so much stronger. So if you're going through anything that's hard, just think of the ways that it can strengthen you and make you a better person. So growing up, my mom was sick for quite a few years, on and off, and so I really just kind of learned how to entertain myself and do my own thing, and I'm still kind of that way. Like I'm still that way where I can just go and do my own thing, go shopping or whatever by myself, but it doesn't bother me. And when I was 23, one of the hardest things that happened was my dad passed away, and he was only 59. It was a huge shock. It wasn't anything like he was sick or anything. And so that was really hard. It was hard for my family, and it's just hard when you have someone pass away, when you just miss them and you just wish you could see them. I've always been a really good listener. I've liked talking to people, and ever since I was little, I wanted to be a hairdresser and a therapist. So those are the things I always put on like those little, like, I don't know, when you're in school and you fill out those reports, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'd always put counselor or hairdresser. So I got one of those. So maybe I'll do the other one, who knows. I always try to be a non-judgmental person. Like, I feel like people as a whole can be so judgmental about people, how they look, the things they do, and like, just because of the experiences I've been through, I'm like, you know what, you have no idea what that person is going through, so where do we have the right to judge their actions or what they're doing? So I always feel like, give people the benefit of the doubt. My favorite vacation spots would be Yellowstone and Disneyland, and my favorite band would be Yellowcard, and me and my husband have seen them in concert 4 times. And the last time was awesome because we got to meet the band and we got autographs and everything like that. And then I also really like Taylor Swift and Kesha, so I have kind of like really varied taste in music. So a couple of months ago I was having a lot of back pain and hip pain and like all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and it turns out that I have one hip that's 23 millimeters shorter than the other one, which is like almost a whole inch. So I don't know how I've been walking around like 27 years with one leg like an inch shorter than the other, but apparently I have, but at least I'm getting it like fixed and helped now, so it can be better. I always liked hair and makeup. Like, I like to do it like with my friends when we were like, can you play or can you hang out? Like, I'd be like, let's do each other's hair, let's do each other's makeup. And I once brought makeup to school when I was in 3rd grade. Like, I'm pretty sure it was my sister's, and everyone got in trouble for putting it on in the bathroom during recess, but I didn't get in trouble. Probably because I didn't put so much on as the other girls were like doing way too much. And when I was in junior high, my parents were always like, you wear way too much makeup. And I'm like, okay. I even wore blue lipstick. Why? Why would you ever need to wear blue lipstick with sparkles? Really? I don't know. Before I started YouTube, I never had drugstore makeup, which sounds weird, except for like maybe the occasional lip gloss or like concealer. Like, my mom was always really nice to take me to get me like nice Lancome or Clinique makeup, so I hadn't had anything from the drugstore, so it really opened my eyes to how many great things that are out there that are actually really inexpensive, so that was awesome. I never wear high heels. Since I had my first baby, I just never really wear them. Like, I don't know, I just don't like how they make my feet hurt, and I'm already super tall, and my husband's the same height as me, so I never wear high heels. I love reading. I used to read a lot more when I was younger, but when I get reading a book, like when I read the Hunger Games, it's like you start reading it, and you're just like, and you're just like turning the pages, and you just can't stop, and then it's like, you know, the house gets to be a mess, and no one does laundry, and those things don't work out so well, so I like to read, but I try to keep it to a limit because I can't get so absorbed into a book. And when I was in school, my favorite subject was probably reading and art. I loved painting and sketching and like pottery and everything kind of artistic. And my worst subject was probably math and handwriting. Like, I do not have good handwriting. Although I was really good at English, not good at handwriting. The first CD I ever owned was Spice Girls. Yeah. Good old 6th and 7th grade. And the first concert I ever went to was the Backstreet Boys, and my oldest sister actually took me with all my friends, and it was awesome. So one thing I'm afraid of is heights. Like, I'm scared of being up high, but I'm mostly scared of being unsafe. Like, I don't like it when I'm in a car and I'm on like a windy road in the mountains and I feel like we could like fall off. Or like, I do not like standing on the edge of a cliff looking over it. Like, that really scares me. And so pretty much any place where I'm high up and I'm not secured, I'm really scared of. My worst date experience was this guy that started stalking me. He like asked me out for my work and I went on a date with him, and he was just kind of weird, and I don't know, like, he was fine, I guess, but I didn't really know him very well. We went on a couple dates, and then it just seemed like he started asking me for money, and he was like, can you come get me? My car broke down. I'm like, I've only been on like 3 dates with you, and I'm the first person you call. Okay, so it was just weird. And then the final straw was, like, we were sitting at his house, and he had this painting of him and his sister, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, how old's your sister? And he's like, oh, she's 25. I was 19 at the time, so I'm like, oh yeah, is that your younger sister? Because I thought he was like the same age as me, maybe a little older. He's like, oh no, that's my younger sister. And I'm like, how old are you? And he's like, I'm 28. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is a lot older than me. I'm like, do you realize I'm only 19? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I was kind of like weirded out by that a little bit. And I'm like, okay, you are 28 years old. You haven't graduated college. You don't have a job. You live with your parents. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, alright, well, yeah, I'm not really feeling this anymore because this guy is like going nowhere with his life. And I think he was just trying to get money out of me, which, you know, that wasn't going to happen. So I was like, hey, well, we're done. Let's just be friends, because that's what you say to someone, right, when you don't want to go out with them anymore. And then he started coming by my apartment. He came by my parents' house because we had gone there once so he could meet my parents. And he came by my work, and he would like bring me like a Pop-Tart or like a Fun Dip or something really random and be like, oh, here, I thought you might want this. I brought this to you because I'm your friend. And I'm like, really? Because most of my friends don't bring me like Pop-Tarts to work. So then one day I went out and I was like, okay, we need to talk. We went out on the front step of my salon and I was like, dude, you cannot follow me around. And he's like, I want to be friends with you. You told me we were going to be friends. And I was like, listen, stalking is illegal in all 50 states. And then he called me some choice words and then he left. And he's like, fine, I'll never talk to you again. And I was like, great. And then I solved it. Then the next kind of crazy random thing that happened was on my honeymoon, we got our car broken into and I left my purse in there because I was like, well, I don't really need to pay for anything because it's all paid for. And then they ended up like stealing my phone and my wedding bouquet and they drained my entire bank account. Yeah, it sucked. And then last but not least, I'm getting a new camera, so I'm really excited to be able to upgrade my quality, and I think that'll just allow me to do so much more and so much better. And I'm just really excited, and I'll be doing a lot more videos and blog posts. If you haven't checked out my blog, I'll put a link down below, and if you guys are interested, I would love to hear your random 50 facts about you, so go ahead and do it, and I will see you guys later. Bye!